senses. All glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to all the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Radha Damodar Prabhuji and Atma Maya Mataji Dandavas Pranam. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you Prabhuji and Mataji for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna, is there anyone who would like to introduce in the call? Okay, I welcome all of you once again. Thank you everyone for joining this Bhakti Sangha conference call. Yeah, today's class will be given by His Grace Shubha Vilas Prabhuji on the topic Magic of Devotee Friendships. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, you are there on the call?
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you Prabhuji for giving your valuable time and association in this Bhakti Sangha conference call. We are really fortunate to have you on this call, Prabhuji. You can please take over. Hare Krishna.
Very happy to be with all of you all and looking forward to connect. Should I chant the verse first or do we do the prayers first?
You can start with the prayers.
Prabhuji, your voice is low.
Okay, I'm going to speak loudly. Don't worry, it'll be fine. Is this better now? Hare Krishna, can you all hear me better now?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji.
Perfect, thank you. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalaka Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishkam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaka Damayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutaha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Rama Ramo Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, very grateful and happy to be amidst all of you all here today. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 28, which is entitled as Puranjana becomes a woman in his next life. We are reading text number 56 and 57 today. So text 56 says, Pancharanam Navadwaram Ekapalam Trikostakam Satkulam Pancha Vipanam Pancha Prakriti Stri Dhavam. Translation: in that city, the material body, there are 5 gardens, 9 gates, 1 protector, 3 apartments, 6 families, 5 stores, 5 material elements, and 1 woman who is the lord of the house. And text 57, I'll read the translation straight away. My dear friend, the 5 gardens are the 5 objects of sense enjoyment, and the protector is the life air, which passes through the 9 gates. The 3 apartments are the chief ingredients: fire, water, and earth. The 6 families are aggregate total of the mind and 5 senses. Purport by His Divine Grace A. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The 5 senses that acquire knowledge are sight, taste, smell, sound, and touch. And these act through the 9 gates: the 2 ears, the 2 eyes, the 2 ears, 1 mouth, 2 nostrils, the genitals, and 1 rectum. These holes are compared to the gates in the wall of the city. The principal ingredients are earth, water, and fire, and the principal actor is the mind, which is controlled by the intelligence or buddhi. Hare Krishna. So we are discussing the story of Puranjan, where allegorically there is a lot of amazing things explained about human existence and what the purpose of life. Allegories are very, very powerful ways that the Vedic scriptures use to describe many things that happen to us in our lives. Allegories, in fact, are considered to be a very superior way of explaining knowledge. And that is how the whole idea of scriptural information is. So, usually through stories and through allegories, a lot of messaging can be done. So today, what I'm going to be discussing is a very beautiful section of a devotee's life, which is about friendship. Rupa Goswami speaks about these 6 things one should always do and 6 things one should always not do. And in both the 6 things that should be done and not done, one of the most important things he speaks about, in fact, out of these 12 items, 3 items are about association. So he says some people we should not associate with, and he says some people we should associate with. 2 times he speaks about associating with devotees, basically. So now the question is, when we talk about associating with devotees, it's a beautiful and it's a apparently I would say it's a romantic idea of having great devotee association. But in reality, what really happens is that our association with devotees is not always that great. I know so many people who have had such bad experiences in their association with devotees. Now, why does such a thing happen? The very foundation of bhakti, of spiritual life, is satsanga, association of devotees. And in that very foundation of bhakti, we struggle so much. So what we're going to be discussing today is about how we can actually enhance the quality of our friendships with devotees. I recently wrote this book called The Magic of Friendships, and this book, is the basis on which I'm going to speak today, and I'm going to share some thoughts with all of you on friendship. So this book was released on International Friendship Day in India, and so of course, anybody who wants a copy of the book is available on Amazon and Kindle also. But I'm going to be specifically speaking from a very interesting and a devotee perspective on friendship. So Rupa Goswami, while he's speaking about in the Nectar of Instruction, while he's speaking so many things, one of the things that is spoken in one of the purports in the book is something known as Swajatiya Vaishnav. Now, this is something very intriguing and actually very shocking sometimes. When I came across this term for the first time, I was very confused about the terminology. So, jati means typically caste or class or something like that. It's some categorization basically. And Swajatiya essentially means somebody who belongs to my jati or my community or my class or my caste or whatever. So I was always thinking, why does Rupa Goswami get into this kind of a discussion in while speaking about devotees? And that's when I realized this idea Swajatiya Vaishnav, it actually is referring to like-mindedness. So there may be 100 devotees in the temple, there may be thousands of people we are connected to in a community, but the question is, are all people, all the devotees like-minded? So when usually our expectation is that we when we are connecting with devotees, we would everyone thinks similar, but that's not the way it is. Every single devotee is different, and it's not that the devotees think similar. So when Rupa Goswami is speaking about Swajatiya Vaishnav, what is he talking about? He is essentially talking about how one should make friendships with those devotees that are like-minded. There is a very interesting saying by Jim Rohn. So this guy, he says, one becomes an average of 5 people you are with all the time, most of the times. So now you tell me, who are the 5 people that you are hanging out with the most, and I'll tell you who you are. So the quality of who we are is determined by who are the people that we hang around the most. And therefore, those 5 people you have to really choose wisely. Even amongst the devotees, one has to be very careful when one makes choices of friends among devotees. And unfortunately, the tendency that we all have is whoever we meet, we think that they are our friends. Just like in schools and colleges, when we go to attend schools and colleges, and we find so many people in our class, and we tend to think that they are all our friends. In our neighborhoods, we find so many people in the neighborhoods, and we tend to think that they're all our friends. In fact, when we come to a devotee community, we find so many people in the devotee community, and we think that they're all our friends. And more than that, today, social media has so much presence, and we have thousands of friends on social media, and we think they're all our friends. The reality is, there are different levels of friendship. So I speak about 4 levels of friendship. So English is not so much versatile as much as Sanskrit is, and it does not have the depth that Sanskrit has. Sanskrit has terminologies that describe the levels of friendship, the depths of friendship. So the first level, it speaks about how the first level of friendship is known as bandhu. Bandhu means associates. So essentially, they are your network. You can have unlimited bandhus in your life, and you will have hundreds and thousands of bandhus in your life. And these bandhus keep changing. Once you change your neighborhood, you will have a complete new set of bandhus. Once you change your school or college, you will have a complete new set of bandhus. Once you change from one temple to another temple, you transfer, you get to another city or another place, and then you have a totally different set of bandhus. So bandhus are people who you associate with. Here, there is no heart-to-heart connection. Here, the connection is more or less on an external level, and it's more or less transactional. So when you come across somebody that you actually connect with, and you do a lot of service together, or do a lot of work together, you tend to get closer. So bandhus are typically people who help you grow in your networking and in your connections. So the more bandhus you have, technically, the better you do in life. So a lot of people who have a lot of bandhus, they actually feel they have a lot of friends, but that's actually only a very superficial level of friendship. Then the second level of friendship is described as sakhas. So what is sakha means friend. So what is the difference between a bandhu and a sakha? A sakha is someone who makes inroads into your heart. Bandhus don't make inroads into your heart. Sakhas put an effort to make inroads into your heart. Sakhas actually go out of their way to try to develop a deeper connection with you. And you may not have as many sakhas as you have bandhus. If you have bandhus in thousands, you may have sakhas, maybe 40, 50 sakhas, or even lesser, I would say. A sakha is someone who is interested in you. A sakha is someone who is going to give time to you. Sakha is someone who is going to spend energy in trying to develop a heartfelt connection. For one to progress from Bandhu to Sakha, one of the biggest factors that determine the progress from Bandhu to Sakha is time. The more you invest time in a relationship, the more you actually become closely connected. And that's what that's what categorizes as Sakhas. There are a few Sakhas who enter into the third level of friendship. When Sakhas really become close to your heart, they are known as Priya Sakhas. Priya Sakha means best friend. These are people that you love, and these are people that love you. These are people that are happy when you are happy, and they are sad when you're sad. They celebrate your success, and they cry with you when you go through your failures and tough times. Priya Sakhas, they don't leave you so easily. They are there with you all life long, practically till you die. No matter how many cities you change, no matter how many professions you change, no matter how many places you move to, Priya Sakhas will always be connected with you. If you have not got in touch with the Priya Sakha for at least 20 years, and then you make one call, the connection is exactly the same that it was the day you stopped connecting. There is absolutely no difference. And that is how Priya Sakhas are. They are people who actually go out of the way to develop deeper connects with you. So Priya Sakhas are a very rare species. You won't find too many Priya Sakhas in your life. If you have 40, 50 Sakhas, you may end up only with having 3 or 4, at max 5 Priya Sakhas. Priya Sakhas are a very rare species and do not allow anyone to be promoted to a level of Priya Sakha unless and until you're really sure that they are worth giving that position to. So, as I said, Priya Sakhas are best friends. Higher than the Priya Sakhas, there is a highest level of friendship which is known as Suhrit. Suhrit means something higher than best friend. There's no English equivalent to what a Suhrit is. Suhrits are those who are the first people you call when you are so happy. Suhrits, the first person you call when you are so sad and dejected. Suhrits are those who are like your mentors. Suhrits are those who are your greatest pillars of strength. Suhrits are a very, very rare species. You may have one Suhrit in your life. That also rarely. Not everybody ends up having a Suhrit at all. So Suhrits are extremely rare species, and they constitute the highest levels of friendship. Like for example, in Krishna Lila, we find Krishna and Arjun. They were at the level of Suhrit, literally. They had such a deep bond, such a solid connection with one another. One time, Krishna and Arjun, they were sleeping in Dwarka, and they were sleeping on the same bed. And at one point, Narada Muni came to visit Krishna. And when Narada Muni came there, he saw that Krishna and Arjun were sleeping on the same bed. And the interesting part was, Krishna and Arjun, they were sleeping opposite side. So practically, like sometimes, some people turn around in their sleep only. So Arjuna turned around, and Arjun's leg was on Krishna's chest. And when Narada Muni saw this, he was shocked beyond comprehension. He just couldn't figure out how can somebody put their feet on Krishna's chest. So later on, Narada Muni went and consulted Krishna, asked Krishna. He said, "What kind of a devotee is Arjun? Why is he? I mean, how can he even dare to put his leg on your chest?" Krishna told Narada Muni, "See, first of all, who told you to come and see? When we were sleeping, you shouldn't have come only. You won't understand what our connection is." And then Krishna told Narada Muni, "If you really want to know who Arjun is and what my connection to Arjun is," he said, "Go to Arjun when he's asleep." So, Narada Muni went to Arjun when he was sleeping, and he just touched Arjun's body. when Narada touched Arjun's body, now usually when you touch any human being's body, anybody who's sleeping or even normally, you will find a pulse. And there's a particular specific type of sound that the pulse makes, you know. But on Arjun's body, when Narada Muni touched it, he didn't find a pulse, but instead of that, he could find Krishna, 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 Krishna's name constantly being chanted, even when he was asleep. So that's when Narada Muni understood that this relationship is a totally different level. It's a totally different level of connection, and it's a level that we just cannot understand. So, suhrits are a very rare species that very rarely one comes across in life. But of course, at least one should have a lot of bandhus, a few sakhas, and at least a couple of priya sakhas, and if possible, at least one or two suhrits in life. Now, going back to Rupa Goswami's comment on Swajatiya Vaishnav, I would like to bring up a story here, a very beautiful story and a very instructive story that really helps us understand what is the meaning of Swajatiya Vaishnav and what really is Rupa Goswami's meaning when he says like-mindedness. So this story is from the Panchatantra. So Panchatantra is one of the very powerful literatures from ancient India, written by a personality known as Pandit Vishnu Sharma. And this book has such wisdom loaded in it. I'm going to share with you one story in it. And from when I end the story, you'll be very shocked to understand how that story is so much connected with our own lives as devotees. So the story is about a monkey and a crocodile. So one time there was a monkey and a crocodile that, a monkey that was living on a tree. So this monkey, it was, its name was known as Rakthamukha. So this monkey, it lived on a tree of jamul fruits. It's a berry tree basically, and the berries on this tree were extremely tasty. So this monkey loved his tree home, and he lived there, ate berries all day long, and he just loved to eat the berries. So one day, while the monkey was happily living on his tree, he suddenly noticed below the tree, he saw that there was a crocodile that had come and it was resting there. So obviously the tree was very close to a river, and the crocodile had just swam out of the river and it was resting under the tree. So the monkey thought that this crocodile is my guest. And because it is my guest, it has come to my home, I need to serve my guest by feeding him something. So the monkey dropped some berries for the crocodile to eat. The crocodile ate those berries and he loved them. He never tasted anything as sweet. So he asked the monkey, "Can I have some more berries?" The monkey dropped more berries into his mouth. And the crocodile was so happy. So every day the crocodile started visiting the monkey, and they started speaking for long hours. And the monkey would keep feeding the crocodile berries, and they would speak to each other, and soon they became very good friends. So many days later, the wife of the crocodile, she noticed that her husband was away from home for pretty long time every day. So she asked him one day, "What do you do? Where do you go? And why do you come back so late?" So the wife started having some doubts on the husband. So the crocodile, he said, "I have found a very good friend who feeds me good berries. So I go and meet him every day, and we eat berries together." So the next day, the crocodile actually brought a lot of berries for his wife. So when the wife of the crocodile ate those berries, she loved them. She just loved the berries. And she had a thought suddenly in her mind. The thought was a very interesting thought. She thought that if the monkey is eating these berries every day, and if he's eating berries, so many berries, his heart must be tasting really sweet because it's filled with so many berries. So the crocodile's wife told her husband that, "I want to eat the monkey heart because it must be really sweet." The crocodile was shocked. He said, "He's my friend. How can you eat my friend?" She said, "No, I don't know. Nothing doing. If you love me, then you get me that monkey's heart." Now the crocodile was really confused, and he was in his confusion, he reached back to the tree and Now he was thinking of a way to convince the monkey, to come with him to his home. He came up with an idea. He told the monkey that, my dear friend, every day you serve me, today I want to serve you. So the monkey said, what do you want to do? So the crocodile said, I would like to give you a ride on the river. So why don't you hop on my back, and I'll take you, on a joyride across the river, and you would have never experienced such depth, and you would have never experienced such a, joyful experience. So he said, just come with me. So the monkey, he said, okay, fine. He jumped on the back um, of the crocodile, and he really began to, um, enjoy the ride into the river. So as they were progressing, when they reached right in the middle of the river, and the crocodile realized that there is no way the monkey can escape now, the crocodile decided to tell the truth. So he felt that the monkey deserves to know the truth before he dies. So he told the monkey that, I'm sorry, I'm not taking you on a joyride. I am taking you to my wife who wants to eat your heart because she feels that you have a sweet heart. So the monkey immediately understood that he's in big trouble. And if he doesn't do something about it, uh, he's dead. So the crocodile, so the monkey came up with an idea. The monkey said, oh no, you should have told me. You should have told me that, your wife wanted to eat my heart. If I had known, I would have got my heart. I left it on the tree. I didn't get it today. Now the crocodile was really shocked. He didn't even realize that you cannot separate your heart like that. So now he began to panic because he was really scared of his wife. He didn't know what to do. He was trembling literally in the middle of the river. He was sweating in the middle of the river. So the monkey said, see, my friend, don't worry. I want to help you. So let's just go back home and I'll bring my heart. And then we can go back to your wife. No problem. She can eat my heart. So crocodile was like so relieved. He said, yes, yes, let's go. And then they reached back to the tree. And as soon as they reached the tree, the monkey hopped over onto the ground and ran up the tree. And after he reached on top of the tree, he sat on top of the tree and he told the crocodile, see, he said, unfortunately, both of us cannot be friends. And then the monkey actually told the crocodile, there are principles of friendship that need to be done for people to become friends. But the most important principle, even before these principles are applied, is the principle of like-mindedness. So he said, when I said my heart is on the tree, what does it mean? He said, my heart is on the tree means it's not the physical heart. It's about where your heart lies. There are some people that you can give your heart to. And there are some people, if you give your heart to them, they will crush it. They will eat it up. They will destroy it. And therefore, you should be very careful whom you hand over your heart to. And then the monkey said something that I'm going to share with you all right now. And you won't believe that this is the monkey saying it. The monkey said, Dadati pratigrinati guhyam akhyati prichati bhungte bojayate chaiva shadvida priti lakshanam. Yes, this verse from the Nectar of Instruction that Rupa Goswami quotes is from Panchatantra. And this verse is spoken by the monkey to the crocodile. And the monkey is telling the crocodile, these 6 loving exchanges, Dadati pratigrinati, means giving gifts and accepting gifts. Guhyam akhyati prichati, which means revealing your heart and confidence and hearing the other person's heart and confidence. And bhungte bojayate, that means being invited to dine and going to dine in your friend's place. So these 6 exchanges should be done between people who are like-minded. So the monkey tells the crocodile, I'm sorry, we are not like-minded, and therefore we should not continue this friendship. And that is how Rupa Goswami. So imagine Rupa Goswami is so brilliant that he brings in together the best of the best knowledge from across the scriptures and puts it together in this form of these 11 verses. So this verse is from the Panchatantra that Rupa Goswami quotes in Nectar of Instructions. So the point is, when Rupa Goswami is saying that one should be like-minded, this is what it means. That these loving exchanges cannot be done with anybody. And if done with anybody, don't expect the same results. Like-mindedness is one of the prerequisites for getting into deep friendships. Now, the question is, for everything in life, we prepare a lot. Like, for example, um, we prepare for um, job interviews. We prepare to get into the best of universities and colleges across the world. We prepare for our driving license tests. We prepare for so many things in life. But the question is, do we really prepare to get into relationships? A lot of people, they assume that they are already prepared for entering relationships. The reality is, nobody spends time preparing themselves to get into relationships, to understand one another, to actually develop oneself to be a good friend. Now, you expect others to be good friends, but the question is, are you a good friend yourself? Are you potentially a good friend material? Unfortunately, most people today do not invest in developing themselves to become worthy of friendship. And that's why we're going to spend some time now speaking about preparation. So just like we need for everything important in life, we prepare. Similarly, for getting into friendships also, we need to prepare. So how do you prepare yourself to get into friendships? There are two principles that I would like to speak about which are principles about of preparing oneself. One is the lens principle. The lens principle says who you are determines what you see. What the kind of person that you are, depending on that, you will see others. The Mahabharata speaks about a very beautiful story of Dronacharya, the guru of the Kauravas and the Pandavas. So once Drona invites Duryodhan to meet him. So when Duryodhan comes, Dronacharya gives him an assignment. He tells Duryodhan, I want you to go into the kingdom and find at least one person who is better than you. So Duryodhan goes into the kingdom and meets thousands of people, and he comes back and he tells his guru Drona that I'm sorry, I couldn't even find one person who is better than me, because every person I saw had one fault which I didn't have. And Duryodhan actually had a list of people and a list of their faults, and he actually could find fault in every single person. So you can imagine, Duryodhan couldn't find good in anyone literally. So then Dronacharya called Yudhishthir and he told Yudhishthir, I want you to go into the kingdom and find at least one person who is worse than you. So Yudhishthir went out into the kingdom and he returned back and he said, I'm sorry, I couldn't even find one person who is worse than me, because every person I saw had one good quality which I didn't have. Yudhishthir Maharaj could find good in every single person. He couldn't find even one person who was worse than him. Dronacharya was shocked. And that's when he understood our analysis of others are expressions of our own values, needs, and values. When we analyze others in a particular way, we are actually analyzing our own self. Like, for example, somebody who likes to dress well, when they look at others, the first thing they see is how they are dressed. Somebody who likes to have good hairstyle, the first thing they look at others is, what is their hairstyle. Somebody who likes to wear good tilak, first thing you look at others and find what is the shape of the tilak. So basically, the way we look at others, it actually determines who you are. So who you are determines what you see. Who you are determines how you see others. There was once an old man who was standing at the entrance of a village. So some a traveler approached and he spoke to this old man and he was asking him, how are the people in this village? So this traveler was thinking of settling down in this village. So the old man said, how are the people in the village you came from? And the traveler said, all useless people. I just ran away from there. I couldn't handle them. Very selfish, very cruel people, arrogant people. So the old man said, same here. So this traveler was very sad. He went into the village. After some time, another traveler came by and he met the same old man. And he asked him the exact same question. He said, how are the people in this village? And this old man asked him the same question. How are the people in the village you came from? So the traveler said, they are so kind, so loving, such beautiful people. The old man said, same here. So now imagine the same old man speaking about the same set of people and saying two opposite things. Why? Because who you are determines how you see others. If you are a very trusting person, you look at others as trustworthy. If you are a very critical person, you look at others as very critical. If you are a very caring person, you look at others as very caring. So who you are determines how you see others, and who you are determines how you see life. There are a lot of people who see life from a very heavily negative perspective. Like there was an old man who was sleeping on an easy chair, and his grandson came and he wanted to play a prank on him. So he took a piece of old smelly cheese and he put it on the mustache of the grandfather. And this boy went and hid. So when the grandfather got up, he started smelling. He said, this room is stinking today. He went to the next room and he said, oh, this room also stinking today. He went all around the house. He said, the whole house is stinking today. And then he went outside the house. He said, the whole world is stinking today. So where was the stink? The stink was below his nose. So similarly, um, when we look, so who you are determines how you see life. So a lot of people find life to be very bad, very unfair, very tough, very negative. So it may be possible that the unfair person, the negative person is them only. So life is exactly the same for everybody, but every person looks at life differently depending on who they are. So lens principle tells us that when we wear the lenses, the lenses show us about others. So when we look at others, we're actually analyzing others based on who we really are. And to understand who we are, what do we need? We need a mirror. The mirror shows us who we are. The mirror helps us examine ourselves. So if you really want to be in a relationship, if you really want to have deep friendships, first we have to stand in front of the mirror and examine ourselves. When we examine ourselves, we realize our own flaws. When we examine ourselves, we realize our own shortcomings. And when we examine ourselves, we realize how much we have scope for improvement. So only when we look at ourselves hard in the mirror, we have the rights to look at others with a lens. Unfortunately, we are experts in finding faults with others, but we are very, very careful of not finding any faults in ourselves. Therefore, we should just do the opposite. In the Greek mythology, there is a very amazing story. This talks about a man named Zeus. There's a Greek god named Zeus. So this story says that when Zeus handed over, so there was a man that Zeus was handing over two bags to. So when Zeus handed over these two bags to a man, one bag contained the faults of others, and the second bag contained the good of this man. So so Zeus handed over these two bags to this man, and while handing over, he hung the two bags on a stick. And when he was handing over the stick to this man, he put the bag that contained others' faults in the front, and he put the bag that contained others' good in at the back. So when this man started walking, he could see the faults of others very easily. but he could not see the good of others because the good of others was at the back of him. And therefore, this is known as a zeus fault. So we are experts in finding faults in others, but we are very, very, miserly, and also very, very incapable of finding good in others. And therefore, all of us in our own personal lives, we have to remember, for us to really have good friends, we need to prepare ourselves. Preparing ourselves for, so when we say that we don't have any good friends, or we have friends that are not of good quality, or we find that we don't have really good connections with friends amongst devotees, the question is, am I prepared enough to attract the right kind of friendships? Am I really worthy of friendship? So that's the question that we need to ask ourselves. I'm going to end this discussion by talking about two very important friendships that are there in the scriptures. And I'm just going to compare the two friends, the quality of the two friends, and then we can have question answers. So the first set of friends is Dronacharya and Drupad. So Drona and Drupad, they studied in the same school. They studied in the same Gurukul together when they were small children, and they became the best of friends. They loved each other. They really spent so much time together, and they were always seen together. One particular day, on a very emotional day, Drupada spoke to his friend Dronacharya. They were small children. So he said, "One day when I become a king, I will give you half my kingdom." Now, small children say so many things. Do you really take them seriously? So most of the time it's just for fun. So Drupad said something, and they continued their life. Eventually, Drupad went his own way. Drona went his own way. Drupad became a king. Drona remained a poor brahmana. At some point, when Ashwatthama was born, his Dronacharya's wife, Kripi, she told her husband that they're really struggling for basic things. They didn't even have wealth enough to buy to get Ashwatthama some milk. So what Dronacharya would do was he would actually mix atta or flour in water, and it would start looking white in color, and he would feed Ashwatthama, saying that this is milk. So they were so poor. So at some point, his wife told him that you have such a rich friend, Drupad. Why don't you just go and ask him for some money? So Dronacharya went all the way to Drupad's kingdom, and imagine they're meeting each other after probably 20 years, and they had absolutely no connect in between. And at this point, Dronacharya just goes and says, "I'm your old friend. If you remember, we studied in Gurukul together." And he said, "I have come in our childhood. You made a promise that you will give me half your kingdom." So Dronacharya said, "I've come to claim my half." So Drupad was shocked. First of all, they both had not invested in the relationship for the last so many years, literally, 2 decades. And suddenly here, Dronacharya comes randomly without any kind of deposit for so many years, and he comes and claims half the kingdom. Drupad starts laughing. He said, "I don't even know who you are, and you're asking me for half the kingdom." And he said, "See, I understand that you're a poor brahmana, and you may need some wealth. If you ask me properly, I'll give you a cow. But if you ask me like this, I'll kick you out from here." So Dronacharya, he got really upset that Drupad had promised him something and he's not doing what he had promised. And Dronacharya got furious. Drupad is, he said, "Throw this fellow out, and literally Dronacharya was kicked out of the kingdom. And Dronacharya went all the way back and he went to Hastinapur and he became the guru of the Kauravas and the Pandavas. And he taught the Kauravas and Pandavas everything about martial arts and really made them experts in use of weapons. And when they became experts, the first thing he told them is, "You want to give me Guru Dakshina? My Guru Dakshina is get me Drupad." So all the Kauravas and the Pandavas went all the way to Drupad's kingdom, fought against him intensely, and out of everybody, Drupad managed to defeat everyone except one person, Arjun. And Arjun defeated Drupad very badly, and he brought Drupad and threw him at the feet of Dronacharya. So Dronacharya, he said, "Drupad, now your kingdom is my kingdom, but I'm still your friend." He said, "Because I'm your friend, I will not be as bad as you." He said, I'm going to give you half your kingdom back." And he said, "I'll keep half the kingdom." So he actually handed over half the kingdom to Drupad. And now you can imagine, do you think that the fight got resolved over there? Not at all. Drupad kept this whole thing in mind. And Drupad decided that he's going to finish Dronacharya. So he actually conducted a yagya. He performed a massive sacrifice. And from the sacrifice was born a son named Drishtadumna. And Drupad actually uh, begot this child, Drishtadumna, only for one reason, to kill Dronacharya. So Drishtadumna eventually goes and kills Dronacharya. And then Dronacharya's son Ashwathama eventually kills Drishtadumna. So the fight goes on for generations together. 3 generations wiped out because of one fight between 2 friends. Now, I'm going to share with you another story, which is exactly the same type of friendship between Krishna and Sudama when both of them were in school. So Krishna and Sudama, they were best of friends in school. They loved each other, spent so much time together, and eventually Krishna became the king of Dwaraka and Sudama became a poor Brahmana. Brahmana means poor. There's no question of a rich Brahmana, It doesn't really work at all. But so when Sudama remained a poor Brahmana, and at one point his wife told him that we are struggling so badly. Why don't you just go and talk to your friend Krishna? So Sudama said, no, I can't even ask my friend for anything. How can I? This is an insult to friendship. His wife said, no, just go. Don't ask him anything. Just go and meet him. So Sudama, the first question he asked is, if I'm going to go and meet my friend, I need to take some gift for him. So here, look at the change, look at the mood, look at the attitude. So here, Sudama is not thinking about what I'm going to get from my friend. He's thinking about what can I give my friend. They have nothing. Even though they have nothing, he still wants to give something. And that's the nature of friendship. The nature of friendship is, as long as we are thinking of exploiting, as long as thinking of getting something from our friend, the idea of friendship is going to be limited. And the moment we think that my role in friendship is to only serve my friend, to give my friend, there's an element of selflessness that comes in, which is what love is, which is what unconditional love is. Sudama, he wanted to give something. So his wife begged from 4 houses a little bit of chip rice. And she got 4 different handfuls of chip rice. Now imagine a handful of chip rice is hardly anything. And 4 different houses giving her 4 handfuls. And it is explained that she went to the house of a Brahmana, she went to the house of a Kshatriya, she went to the house of a Vaishya, and she went to the house of a Shudra. So now each of these houses, they have different qualities of chip rice. So the chip also has different qualities and different textures. So she mixed all these 4 in one packet, small cloth bundle, and gave it to Sudama. Sudama traveled all the way from Porbandar, from his place to Dwarka, and he met Lord Krishna over there. So the moment he entered Dwarka, Krishna ran out and saw him. He embraced him. He welcomed him. He actually brought him right into his bedroom and made him sit on his own bed. And then he started massaging the feet of Sudama. Sudama was so embarrassed that the king of Dwarka is massaging the feet of a poor Brahmana. And not just that, Krishna actually not just massaged his feet, he bathed his feet. And then he sprinkled the water from the foot wash of Sudama on his head and on the head of his whole family. And then Krishna, they're having loving conversations. Krishna, Sudama, what did you get for me? I'm sure you must have got something. Now, Sudama was like so embarrassed to even give what he had got because that's like not worth. He saw the opulence of Krishna. He saw the goddess of fortune, Rukmini Devi, standing next to him. So he was feeling so embarrassed to give something so putrid and so insignificant to Krishna. But Krishna found out, snatched the bundle that Sudama had, and he opened the packet. And he saw this poha, this chipped rice. And he picked up a morsel of the chipped rice and threw it into his mouth. When Krishna ate that chipped rice, he loved it. He said, I've never tasted anything as nectarian as this. Even the Raj Bhog of my kingdom is nothing compared to this. Now, what was Krishna actually tasting? Krishna was not tasting the chipped rice. Obviously, the chipped rice was stale. It was completely putrid, literally. But what he was tasting was the love of his friend. And then the 2 friends remained together for many, many days. And they spoke such loving things about their younger days together. Sudama never asked Krishna anything. Krishna never spoke about giving anything to Sudama. Krishna was thinking, how can I offer him money? How can I even think of offering him money? And that too, it looks so insignificant compared to the love that he's giving me. So he said, all that I can give him is money. He said, that's not what I want to give him. It's not worth. It's not. Reciprocation enough to give him money. So Krishna just shied away from giving any money to Sudama. Sudama shied away from asking anything from Krishna. And then as Sudama was going back, he was actually thinking that, thank God I did not ask anything from Krishna. And he said, he started thinking, why did Krishna not ask me anything also? Because he felt Krishna is thinking that if this person gets material wealth, he might lose his focus on his spiritual lives. And therefore, Krishna feeling that I might lose my focus on spiritual life, he never gave me anything, any kind of material wealth. And Sudama was grateful to Krishna for not giving him anything. And in his gratitude, when Sudama reached his home, he saw that his home has transformed into a massive palace. His wife and children were decorated in the best of clothes and ornaments. And that's when he realized Krishna had silently transferred a huge amount of wealth to Sudama. Silently. Why did Krishna silently do it? Because he felt between friends, money should never come. Because wealth is insignificant in comparison to love that friends can give us. And therefore, between friends, as long as there is selflessness and there is the element of love, the element of reciprocation relationship, which is deep, which is you know which is called soul searching relationships, and those relationships are really what devotees need, devotees should hanker for, and devotees should aspire for. Hare Krishna. I'll stop here. Any questions or comments, please?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the very, very beautiful class. Very interesting topic and very practical uh, uh, instructions, Prabhuji. So,
Hare
so
Krishna.
sometimes, yeah,
Yes.
is it not sometimes become artificial if we just work on these things? Shouldn't it be very natural?
Yes, that is the perfectly right way to do it. But I mean, if it was so natural, it should have come to us by now. If we are struggling with it, that means, I mean, if you have already reached halfway in your life and you still not achieved it, that means you have to put some effort to achieve it, right?
Oh yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
As simple as that. For those who have it, it's very natural. But for those who don't have it, they have to put some effort to achieve it. Unless we do not want friendships at all.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Very, very amazing class, Prabhuji. Very nice, and I think we should read your book, the about friendship. So I have the real life experience. One of my friend and a devotee, means I got the illusion that she's a devotee and I should believe her. And second thing, she was very friendly and she was giving me gifts and so much, and same story like a crocodile and the monkey. And at the end I realized she's cheating me, and she cheated me like anything. And I don't know how to redo the things, means how to I lost, so I don't know what to do now. Like, if devotee can do like this, so it's a big illusion for, like, friends cannot do this and devotee cannot do this, and she has done the both things, cheated like me.
Correct.
So I don't know what to do, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Can you
So
help?
Yes. So it is very sad to see an experience like this, because an experience like this really brings in a lot of pain in the heart. And it's not just among the devotee community, it's also among the outside world, that people go through such experiences. I mean, I know so many people who have gone through such experiences, of people who have acted as a friend but taken advantage, and really cheated financially in so many ways, basically. It's very sad when we find such things happening. But the reality is that that is one of the things, one of the natures of this world. The nature of this world is you will find people who are cheaters all the time. Um, Unfortunately, and naturally we will go through some experiences of this sort. But it doesn't mean that we lose faith in the concept of friendship. It doesn't mean that there are no genuine friends in this world. Just like you will find fake gurus, you'll find fake sadhus, but you also find genuine sadhus. You'll find quacks, fake doctors, but you also find genuine doctors. So just because we have had one experience with a fake guru doesn't mean there are no genuine gurus existing. Just because we have had one bad experience with the doctor, with a fake doctor, doesn't mean there are no good doctors existing. Similarly, just because we have had one bad experience with a fake friend doesn't mean that good friends don't exist. Yes, just that we need to be very careful before we hand over a heart to anybody, before we really decide that this somebody is worthy of friendship. We have to be really careful. But once you take a sufficient precaution, then it's usually not so bad. Yes, exceptions do happen, and when they happen, they teach us a lesson. So I would say that use this as a learning experience, but do not give up on the concept of friendship, because the concept of friendship is universal, and it is very, very important and crucial for all of us. I hope that helps.
Yes, Prabhuji. It's-
I'm
Finally, Krishna is our best friend. So
Krishna is the best friend.
we need to hear many things on Krishna.
Yes, yes, definitely. See, Krishna manifests himself through devotees also. Krishna
Mhm.
manifests himself in many ways, right? One of the ways he manifests himself is through the association of devotees. So yes, Krishna is our best friend. Ultimately, he is there, but he's also available to us through devotee association. So we should try to connect with Krishna in as many ways as possible.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So I have so there are two questions on the chat box. I'm just answering them first. So Richa Mataji from Delhi, she's asking, I have a question. If my friend tells me secret talk to, if my friend tells my secret talk to others, and she does it, but she didn't mean it. So should I continue to share my heart talk with her? Um, the idea of friendship is confidentiality. When confidentiality is broken, a friendship is quite shattered, basically. So if somebody is sharing what you have shared in confidence with somebody else, then you should really be careful of that person. Probably you can, if you come to know about it once, you can confront and tell them that um, that you know about this, and this has really disturbed you. You can tell them that, you know um, and that kind of so sometimes people innocently just do it. They may not want to do it consciously, but they might just do it out of habit. Some people have this compulsive talking habit. Just they need to keep talking to somebody, something or the other. So in that, because they just run out of material, they tell something that they shouldn't have told. So if that is the case, then you give them a warning, then they might not do it again. But if you find that they're doing it repeatedly, then you should definitely stay away from speaking confidential things to such people. And you should also reconsider the depth of that friendship, because it's a breach of confidence. I hope that helps, Richa ji. The next question is Vidyavati Mataji. She is there are two doubts. Sometimes it's not possible to reciprocate anybody's love equally. Maybe the other person considers you her best friend, and you don't consider her to be exactly like-minded. So how should we serve her best? So I'll answer this question first. Yudhishthir Maharaj has a very interesting take on this, and it's a very, very interesting story. So after the Pandavas became the kings and they were ruling over the world, one man approached Bhima with a problem. He said, I have 5 pots, and he said, I have 5 small pots and 1 big pot. And when I fill the big pot with water, fill it to the brim with water, and from the big pot, when I transfer the water to the 5 small pots, the 5 small pots get full. But when I transfer the water from the 5 small pots back into the big pot only has half water. So he said, how does it happen? So Bhima was highly confused. He said, I have no idea what it means. So he said, let's go and talk to Yudhishthir. So he brought this man to Yudhishthir Maharaj and told him the problem, that he has 1 big pot and 5 small pots. When he transfers the water from the big pot to 5 small pots, they all get full. But when he transfers the water from the 5 small pots back into the big pot, the water remains half full. So Yudhishthira Maharaj said, this means Kali Yuga has begun. So then everybody was surprised. How does it mean that Kali Yuga has begun? Yudhishthira Maharaj gave a very beautiful explanation. He said, in Kali Yuga, when you give 100% love to others, you will only get back 50% in return. So you give 100% to your friend. Don't expect 100% to come back in return. You will only get 50% back in return. That is the nature of Kali Yuga. So when you give love, do not expect 100% love back. It's not going to happen. That's the answer to your first question. I hope that helps you. The second question is, if we have lost our best friend's faith due to some bad experience, how to gain back their trust? Faith and trust comes in an environment of safety. When people feel safe, they open their hearts to you. So you have to create an environment of safety for them to open their hearts to you. If you create an environment of danger, if you create an environment of insecurity, if you create an environment of competition, if you create an environment of envy, you lose the friend, because the friend doesn't feel safe anymore. So the moment you create back the environment of safety, then you will get back your friend. So usually creating the environment of safety doesn't happen so quickly. It takes sometimes years for it to happen. And after happening, when you break it, when you suddenly break it, then for it to come back again, it takes a little longer period of time. So my suggestion is, you have to be patient and you have to be investing in the relationship over a period of time. And when you do it genuinely, it's possible to gain the friendship back, gain the trust back. Remember that the way to gain trust back is by creating an environment of safety. And that's what the whole idea of friendship is. I hope that helps, Vidyavati Mataji. Sundaranand Prabhu's question is, could you please help me understand like-minded in choosing a friend? So like-mindedness is about a similarity in taste. When I'm saying similarity in taste, it's not about just similarity in, like eating pizza or something like that. Similarity in taste is similarity in depth, similarity in maturity, similarity in likes and dislikes of life as such. I remember His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he was speaking about his friendship with Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. And, this was after Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj left his body. And, Radhanath Maharaj was giving like a 6-hour lecture on Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj's glories. And in that lecture, he spoke something very interesting about their friendship. He said that they would spend days together. So when he said days together, he actually went on to describe details about what is the meaning of days together. They would meet on a particular day, and they would speak for hours together that day. And the talk would go on over lunch. The talk would go on after lunch. The talk would go on as a lying all day in the together and talking, and then the talk would go on into the evening, and then the talk would go on all night, and the talk would go on all the way till Mangalarti the next day morning, and they would attend Mangalarti. They would chant japa together, and again come back and start talking. And I used to always wonder, what do they talk so much? What is there to talk so much between two people? And then Maharaj, he gave a very interesting definition. He said, we used to have soul searching conversations. So I always wondered, what is the meaning of soul searching conversations? And that's when I realized this is what like-mindedness is. So when two people connect with one another, they connect at such a level, such a deep level, that they connect at the level of principles. So it doesn't mean that two people have to love pizza for them to be like-minded. Somebody might love curd rice and somebody might love pizza, but they still can be best friends and they still can be like-minded, because the like-mindedness is not in the externals, but it is in the principles of life. So when you find like-mindedness in the principles of life, in the value systems, in the way you understand priorities of life, that's what I understand as like-mindedness. So I hope that helps you, Sundaranand Prabhu. The next question is by Gehenna Mehraji. The question is, would getting cheated from friends mean that we deserved that as our karma? See, technically, everything that happens to us in our life is our karma only, but we don't bring in karma all the time, in all discussions. Basically, we understand it at the background of our mind, it's all karma. But when we deal with it, we deal with it in a more practical manner, as if we have some control over it. Because if we just leave everything to karma, then essentially we don't do anything. If we say everything is our destiny, then we don't have to do anything at all. Then why put effort? Therefore, Purushartha and Daiva both are important. So Purushartha is your effort. So you put in your effort as far as if everything depends on you. Once you put in your effort and still things don't work, then you understand it's your Daiva. It's Daiva, it's destiny. So without putting in effort, saying that everything is destiny, it's actually laziness. So I hope that helps you, Gahanaji. The last question is from Shrikantji. The question is, how do I raise my friendship with my kids to Sakha level? Obviously, because of my relationship with them, we are not like-minded. Any recommendation where I take it to the next level of friendship? Thank you for the question, Shrikantji. I would like to happily inform you that there's an entire chapter on friendship between parents and children. So I highly recommend you to pick up this book called The Magic of Friendships. You will find it on Amazon Kindle. And this book will really, really, really give you so much deeper insights into parent-child relationship, especially from the point of view of friendships. I just wanted to make a recommendation that if anybody feels that they are lonely, if anybody feels that they lack deep relationships in friendships, if anybody feels that they don't understand how to create deeper levels of friendship, and if anybody is looking for answers from the scriptures, please pick up this book called The Magic of Friendship. It can save lives. I know so many devotees who are going through such challenging times today, specifically because they don't have a friend. And I am saying they don't have a friend. I'm saying they don't have a friend within the devotee community. We have had the best of friends in schools and colleges. And so many times we miss that in friendships. We miss that in devotee communities. And unfortunately, the reality is that though we are the best of devotees around us, it still is possible that you can be lonely. So my suggestion to all of us is, please invest on friendship between devotees, because it is so very crucial for our spiritual lives. It is said that we should spend 20% of our time with seniors, 20% of our time with juniors, and 60% of our time with equals. And what is the meaning of 60% of our time with equals? And what are we talking about? We're actually talking about Sakhyam. We're actually talking about the association of devotees. We're actually talking about having deep friendship with devotees. So one of the limbs of devotional service is Sakhyam. And how do we do Sakhyam? You know, obviously one is to develop friendship with the Lord, but not all of us are exactly in that level of developing relationship with the Lord at that level, you know. But we can find that connection with devotees if we really know how to enhance and how to deepen our connection with the devotees. So in this book, I've given so many practical ways, and this book will be especially useful to teenagers. If you have children who are teenagers, if you have you yourself are teenagers who are a part of this call, or if you know teenagers who are struggling, because today everyone is online, you know, and they seem to be having hundreds of friends online, but all of them are lonely, all of them are alone, and they have no idea how to make real friendships. So I specifically wrote this book from that point of view. So it will be a great gift to young kids. So the last question that we will take up today is by Akshita and Vrinda. Um, can devotees and non-devotees be friends, although their tastes don't match? There may not be like-mindedness, but can be very good friends. So should we still continue that friendship as a devotee? My humble little opinion is this: I have I have a couple of best friends from my childhood. These are people who have studied with me practically from my seventh grade, you know, and we have grown up together for practically most of our youth, and we have such a deep bond. And unfortunately, they're not devotees, but they respect what I'm doing, and they really appreciate what I'm doing. They're trying to follow a little bit of what I'm doing, but I understand the limitations. So, but at the same time, our friendship is as deep as it always is. So please do not discount people from your lives. Getting good people in your life is very rare. Unless and until you have friends who are really demoniac, that's a different thing. You should definitely avoid such people. But you will always find a lot of your friends, old friends who are not devotees exactly, they're very genuine people. And because they're genuine people, that's why you had the friendship in the first place. So, and such friendships are very rare to have. It's not easy to have. So do not break friendships so easily unless and until you find that is an obstacle to your devotional service. So usually many of these friends are harmless. They do not obstruct our devotional service. So if they don't, please do not destroy friendships, do not lose friendships. They are very rare. And it also gives you an opportunity to help them slowly uplift them in their consciousness and probably become devotees at some point in future. I know so many of my friends from my school days and college days who are now devotees just because I stayed in touch with them, just because I did not alienate them from my life. So it might take a little longer time than to make them devotees than regular people, but it's still worth it. That's my little answer to your question. So I am very, very grateful to all of you all for your patient listening, and I'm very grateful to be on this call. Very, very grateful to Shama Gauri Mataji for having invited me on this Bhakti Sangha call. She is so kind enough to keep inviting me, and I'm so sorry that though I would have loved to be more often on this call, I'm not as much regular, but whenever I'm there, it's always an honor and pleasure to be with you all, and it's a great privilege to be serving all of you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila
Yeah,
Prabhupada.
thank you very much, Prabhuji. And I know you are so busy, so that's why I just keep waiting for your, free time so that we can share and, you can give class for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for such a beautiful class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Let's pay our obeisances to Prabhuji. Yo namo namaha.
Panchakalpatarushya.
कृपासिद्धभ्यः च पतितानां
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि
Thank you
वैष्णव
so much.
की जय।
जय
श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
जय
प्लीज ग्रेस शुभ विलास प्रभु जी की
Prabhuji.
जय।